Hey, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt it? That little twinge of frustration, maybe even discouragement after trying to meditate. You hear everywhere about the incredible benefits, the calm, the focus, that almost magical mental clarity that seems to solve everything. You download an app, follow the guiding voice, sit correctly, but your mind feels like a busy highway during rush hour. Thoughts about work, grocery lists, that conversation from yesterday, the song stuck in your head, and that inner peace seems further away than ever. If this resonates with you, believe me, you're not alone. Really. It's one of the most common complaints I hear. People like you, intelligent, dedicated, genuinely seeking a way to better handle stress, anxiety, to know themselves better, but who end up thinking, is meditation just not for me? Maybe I simply can't do it? Perhaps you've tried for weeks, maybe months, watched videos, read articles, perhaps even took a course, and yet the feeling is that you're failing, that you're not doing it right. What if I told you that this feeling of it not working might have nothing to do with you or your ability? What if I told you there's a very simple mistake, almost a fundamental misunderstanding about what meditation really is that most people make without even realizing it? A mistake that, ironically, nobody really tells you about. Perhaps because it seems too obvious to longtime practitioners, or maybe because we've gotten a bit lost in how we sell meditation these days. Think about Anna, a talented designer, super creative, but living under constant pressure from deadlines and expectations. She heard meditation would help her manage stress and unlock even more creativity. She bought a little mat, lit incense, set aside 15 sacred minutes every morning. Her goal? To silence her mind, to stop the flow of ideas and worries. But the more she tried not to think, the more thoughts came, the more her frustration grew. She felt tense during meditation. After a month, she concluded, "This just makes me more anxious. It doesn't work for me." Anna, without knowing it, was falling into this simple trap. Did you know that thinking too much during meditation might actually be a sign that it's working? It's like turning on the light in a dark room. You didn't create the mess, you just started seeing it clearly. When you stop and observe, the restless mind reveals itself. And that's not a mistake. It's the first step of awakening. Frustration isn't a sign of failure. It's the entry portal. And now that you've entered, let's go deeper. This relentless quest to empty the mind is almost like trying to hold water in clenched fists. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away. Ancient philosophers, both Eastern and Western, understood this millennia ago. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, spoke of observing events and our thoughts about them with equanimity, without judgment. Buddhist masters described the mind as a restless monkey jumping from branch to branch and taught not to stop the monkey by force, but to observe it with patience and kindness. Taoism reminds us of Wu Wei, effortless action flowing with the nature of things, and the nature of our mind is to think. So, the problem isn't that your mind thinks. The problem is the struggle against it. It's the unrealistic expectation that meditation means achieving an instant and permanent state of non-thinking. In our time together, we'll unravel this simple mistake. We'll dive deep into this perspective that can completely transform your relationship with meditation, and consequently, with your own mind. I'm not going to give you another miracle technique. I'm offering you a shift in perception, a way to approach the practice that takes the weight of performance off your shoulders and puts you on the path of true inner discovery, drawing on ancient wisdom and modern psychological insights. We'll understand why feeling like it doesn't work is actually part of the process and how to use that to your advantage. And before we continue, tell me in the comments, have you ever felt like Anna? Have you had that feeling that meditation wasn't working for you? Sharing your experience really helps us build this learning community. Oh, and if you're already feeling this chat might help, give this video post a like. You know how it is. It helps the algorithm understand that this type of content is relevant to you and show you more like it. Stick with me until the end, because what we'll discover together might be the missing key. Why do so many people think meditation doesn't work? So you commented below, or maybe just thought it out loud, that yes, you felt like Anna, you've had that frustration. And it's great that we can talk openly about this, because understanding these difficulties is the first step to overcoming them. Shall we demystify this journey a bit? When we start meditating, we usually bring a lot of expectations, and let's be honest, a brain that isn't used to being quiet on command. It's like asking a river to stop flowing. It's not going to happen, right? The nature of the river is to flow, just as the nature of our mind is to think. And that's where the most common challenges begin. 1. The famous monkey mind, feeling like you can't stop thinking. This is, by far, the number one complaint. I sit down, close my eyes, and my mind races. It's impossible not to think about anything. Remember what Buddhist masters called the monkey mind? It's a perfect metaphor. Our attention jumps from one thought to another, from a worry to a memory, to a future plan, non-stop. It's as if we gave the monkey a megaphone and an extra shot of espresso. But what if this monkey wasn't your enemy? What if it was just trying to alert you to what you've been ignoring for a long time? The monkey shouts because it wants to be heard. Ignoring it makes it more agitated. Listening with curiosity is what calms it. So maybe the practice isn't about taming the monkey, but learning to converse with it. The issue here isn't that your mind is more restless than others. It's that for the first time you're actually stopping to observe this restlessness without the usual daily distractions. Before, this same mental activity was there, but diluted among tasks, conversations, screens. Now, in the relative silence of meditation, it takes center stage. Modern psychology confirms our brain is a machine for associating ideas, solving problems, even non-existent ones, and anticipating the future. Trying to stop this by force is like trying to prevent clouds from passing in the sky. The practice isn't about stopping the clouds, but learning to watch them pass without being carried away by each one. 2. Impatience and boredom, the instant gratification effect. We live in an age of instant gratification. Want food? Order on an app. Entertainment? Streaming right away. Answers? Google in seconds. And then we sit down to meditate and nothing happens immediately. There's no level complete flashing on the screen, no tangible reward after 5 minutes. What often arises is boredom, impatience, the urge to get up and do something productive. Think about Mark. He's a brilliant programmer, used to solving complex problems and seeing quick results in his code. When he started meditating to relieve anxiety, the first few minutes were torturous. Just sit here, breathing? What a waste of time, he thought. The boredom was almost physical. What Mark didn't realize was that this impatience was, itself, a mental pattern that meditation was bringing to the surface. The Stoics teach us to embrace voluntary discomfort as a form of training. Sitting with boredom, observing impatience without reacting immediately, is a powerful exercise in patience and self-control. Essential virtues for a more balanced life, far beyond the meditation cushion. It's not about liking boredom, but about learning not to be ruled by it. 3. Unrealistic expectations, the magic pill syndrome. Let's be honest, meditation is sometimes sold as a magic pill. Meditate 5 minutes and transform your life. We see images of people levitating in absolute peace and expect to feel the same in the first week. When the reality is just sitting with our noisy mind and slightly aching back, disappointment is inevitable. It's like deciding to learn piano and expecting to play a Beethoven sonata in the first lesson. It doesn't work like that, right? Learning to meditate is learning a skill. It requires practice, consistency, and, above all, patience with the process. As Lao Tzu said in the spirit of Taoism, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Each meditation session, even the difficult or boring ones, is a step on that journey. The result isn't instant nirvana, but the gradual transformation that happens through consistent practice. 4. Self-criticism and perfectionism. Am I doing this wrong? My mind wandered again. I'm terrible at this. I don't think I'm breathing the right way. Was I supposed to feel something different? That inner critical voice, the perfectionist living in many of us, loves to find fault with our meditation practice. We seek a perfect meditation that simply doesn't exist. Here comes the importance of self-compassion, a central concept in both Buddhism and positive psychology. It's about offering yourself the same kindness and understanding you would offer a good friend learning something new and challenging. If your mind wanders, and it will, the right thing isn't to criticize yourself, but to notice the wandering kindly and gently bring your attention back. Each return is a successful repetition of the exercise, not a failure. Do you know what happens every time you notice you've been distracted and come back to the now? You're strengthening your brain, literally. Neuroscience shows this return activates areas responsible for attention and awareness. Each distraction isn't an obstacle. It's the perfect opportunity to train. What if distraction is the raw material for your transformation? There's no doing it wrong when the intention is to observe and return with awareness. 5. Lack of consistency. The life happens hurdle. Many start enthusiastically, meditate for a few days, and then life happens. A rushed morning, a tiring day, and meditation gets postponed, and later never comes. Lack of consistency prevents the deeper benefits from accumulating. Taoism speaks of finding the flow, the middle way, action without excessive effort, Wu Wei. Perhaps the difficulty in being consistent comes from trying to start too big, forcing an hour of meditation when 5 minutes would be more sustainable. Or maybe it comes from that all or nothing mentality. If I miss one day, I give up completely. The key might be finding a rhythm that fits naturally into your life, starting small and celebrating consistency, however minimal. See the pattern? Restless mind, impatience, unrealistic expectations, self-criticism, difficulty maintaining the habit. This is all normal. It's the human experience facing a practice that challenges our usual patterns. It's not a sign that you're inadequate or that meditation doesn't work. It's a sign that you're on the path, encountering the natural obstacles of the journey. It's like feeling sore muscles after starting at the gym. It doesn't mean the exercise isn't working. It means you're working muscles you haven't used before. Understanding and accepting these difficulties as part of the process already relieves enormous pressure. But the key piece is still missing. That simple mistake I mentioned at the beginning, which underlies many of these frustrations. Before we get there, I want to invite you to reflect for a moment. Of these difficulties we discussed, restless mind, boredom, impatience, high expectations, feeling like you're doing it wrong, inconsistency, which one resonates most with your experience? Share in the comments if you feel comfortable. Recognizing our main challenge is the first step towards finding the solution. The simple and crucial mistake nobody tells you, the wrong expectation. So we talked about the restless mind, the boredom, the feeling of doing it wrong. It all sounds familiar, right? But what if I told you that the root of many of these problems isn't your ability to meditate, but rather the way you're approaching the practice, the unconscious goal you bring to your cushion or chair? Here's the simple mistake almost nobody tells you. Perhaps because it's so subtle, so ingrained in our performance culture. We approach meditation with the wrong mindset. We treat it like another task to conquer, like a skill where we need to be good, and we define being good as being able to stop thinking or immediately achieve a state of absolute peace. That's it. The fundamentally flawed expectation. Think about it. Since childhood, we're taught to do, to solve, to control. If something is wrong, like a mind that won't quiet down when we want it to, our instinct is to fix it, fight it, eliminate it. So when we sit to meditate and the mind keeps thinking, which as we've seen is its nature, we interpret this as a failure. Our failure. And then we try to force silence. We try to block thoughts. We tense up. We get frustrated. We essentially declare war on our own minds. Instead of fighting the waves, imagine learning to surf. You don't expect to control the ocean, the mind, life. You don't expect to stand perfectly on the board on your first try. You learn to observe the waves, thoughts, emotions, choose which ones to try riding, fall off, get distracted, and get back up again, return your attention, with patience and persistence. The focus is on the dance with the waves, on the process of learning and balancing, not on taming the sea. Jon Kabat-Zinn, one of the pioneers of mindfulness in the West, says something like, meditation is not about trying to get anywhere else. It's about allowing yourself to be where you already are, and being aware of that. Simple, direct, and profoundly liberating. Let's bring this into practice, even outside formal meditation. What small shift in attitude can you experiment with today? Next time you feel frustrated or impatient, in traffic, in line with an annoying thought, you could try to take one deep breath. Notice the sensation with curiosity. Where do I feel this in my body? Acknowledge it. Okay, impatience is here. Be a little kinder to yourself in that moment. Try it and see what happens. Share in the comments what small change you plan to try. This shift in focus from outcome to process is the master key. It unlocks the door to a meditation practice that is sustainable, enriching, and truly transformative. Not because it magically eliminates life's difficulties, but because it fundamentally changes our relationship with them. Now that we understand the what and why, let's look at some practical tips to integrate this approach into your daily life. Practical tips. How to meditate when you think you can't. Okay, so we agree. Working isn't about clearing your mind or levitating in peace. Working is about showing up for the practice, observing what arises with curiosity and kindness, and training the muscle of returning attention. It's about the process. But how can we facilitate this process in daily life? How can we make this approach a reality in your routine? Here are some practical tips that can make all the difference. Or 1, start ridiculously small, the power of the micro habit. Remember the consistency challenge? Often it comes from trying to bite off more than we can chew right away. I'm going to meditate 30 minutes every day. This can be intimidating and unsustainable. The golden tip here is start small, really small. How about 1 minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes? Choose a duration that seems almost too easy to accomplish. Why? Because the initial goal isn't to have a long, deep session, but to build the habit. It's more powerful to meditate for 2 minutes every day for a month than to meditate for 30 minutes once and then give up. Consistency builds the neural pathway. As habit science says, make the start so easy you have no excuse not to do it. Taoism also reminds us of the strength of small, constant things like water shaping stone. Start small, be consistent, and let the practice time increase naturally if and when you feel like it. 2, choose your anchor, but don't marry it. The anchor is simply a focal point to bring your attention back to when the mind wanders. The most common is the breath, feeling the air enter and leave, the movement of the abdomen or chest. But it could also be the sounds around you, without judging them, just listening, sensations in the body, contact of feet on the floor, hands on your lap, or even a simple mental image. Experiment. See what works best for you. There's no right or wrong anchor. And more importantly, the anchor isn't a magic object that will stop your thoughts. It's just a reference point, a safe harbor to return to. Be flexible. If focusing on the breath feels difficult one day, try sound. The important thing is having a place to come back to. 3. Create a space, physical or mental. Having a quiet corner and a regular time can greatly help signal to your brain that it's meditation time. But let's be realistic, that's not always possible. The good news? The most important space is the mental space you create with your intention. You can meditate for 2 minutes on the bus, in the office restroom, or before getting out of bed. The essential thing is the conscious decision. Okay, for these next few moments, my intention is to observe my breath sensation sounds with attention and kindness. Remember the Stoics. Focus on what you can control, your intention, and your effort to practice, wherever you are. 4. Use guides. Intelligently, guided meditations are great, especially at the beginning. They offer structure, remind you to return your attention, and can introduce different techniques. There are many excellent apps and videos out there, but use them with intention. Choose guides that reinforce the attitude of observation, acceptance, and non-judgment, the focus on the process. Pay attention to the instructions, but also to your own direct experience. The guide is a map, but the journey is yours. Avoid using guided meditation just as background noise to relax or sleep, unless that's the specific goal of that track. The aim of attention training is to be conscious. Try meditating in silence occasionally, even for a short time, to practice being your own guide. 5. Bring it to life. Secondo informal mindfulness. Seated meditation is the gym workout. The game happens in daily life. Look for ways to bring this same quality of curious, kind attention to routine activities. Brushing your teeth. Feel the bristles, the taste of the paste, the sensation in your mouth. Washing dishes. Feel the water temperature, the sponge texture, the sound of the water. Walking. Feel the contact of your feet on the ground, the body's movement, the surrounding sounds and smells. Waiting in line. Instead of immediately grabbing your phone, observe your breath for a few moments. These small moments of informal mindfulness reinforce the skill of being present and help integrate the benefits of formal practice into your everyday life. This is where the transformation really happens. 6. Be your own scientist. Instead of judging yourself during meditation, take a moment afterward to reflect with curiosity. What did I notice today? How was the experience of returning my attention? Were there any recurring thought patterns? No judgment, just observation. Use these observations to adjust your practice. Maybe you need a shorter duration. Maybe try another anchor. Maybe practice at a different time. There's no one-size-fits-all formula. The practice should serve you. Trust your experience and allow it to evolve. 7. Connect. Although meditation is an inner journey, sharing it can be very helpful. Talking with friends who also practice, joining a group, online or in person, or even interacting here in the comments can bring motivation, new perspectives, and the important feeling of, I'm not alone in this. Hearing others' difficulties and insights normalizes the experience and can be very encouraging. So, to summarize, start small and be consistent. Choose a flexible anchor. Create your space, physical or mental. Use guides intentionally. Bring the practice into daily life. Be your own curious scientist. And if you wish, connect with other practitioners. Remember, every conscious breath, every gentle return of attention, every moment of non-judgmental observation is the practice working. It's not about perfection, it's about presence and process. With this new perspective and these practical tips, meditation ceases to be a frustrating task and becomes a powerful, accessible tool for navigating life with more awareness, calm, and self-compassion. We're nearing the end of our conversation, and I want to tie it all together and leave you with a special invitation. The real goal and your invitation. Wow, what a journey we've taken together, haven't we? We started with that familiar feeling of frustration, Anna's story, or perhaps your own, of feeling inadequate because the mind wouldn't quiet down during meditation. We explored why this is so common, the monkey mind, boredom, unrealistic expectations. Then we uncovered the simple mistake that sabotages so many attempts, approaching meditation like another task to be conquered, expecting to stop thoughts and achieve instant peace. We saw how this performance mindset, so prevalent in our culture, breeds anxiety and leads us to give up thinking, meditation isn't for me. But then came the turning point, shifting the focus from the outcome to the process. We understood that the real practice isn't about having a blank mind, but about noticing when the mind wanders and gently bringing it back with curiosity and without judgment. We learned that each return is a victory, a strengthening of the attention and awareness muscle. And finally, we looked at practical tips to incorporate this approach daily, starting small, choosing a flexible anchor, using guides intelligently, bringing mindfulness into everyday moments, and above all, practicing self-compassion. So, what does success in meditation mean now with this new understanding? Success is showing up. It's sitting or lying down or standing with the intention to practice, even for just 1 minute. Consistency trumps duration. Success is noticing. It's perceiving the thoughts, emotions, and sensations that arise without needing to change or fight them. It's cultivating observer awareness. Success is returning. It's recognizing when the mind has drifted, which it will, and gently, without scolding, bringing it back to your anchor. Each return is an act of training. Success is being kind. It's treating yourself with the same patience and understanding you'd give a friend learning something new and challenging. See, success is no longer in an idealized, often unattainable end state. It's in the quality of your attention and attitude during the process, moment by moment. It's a much more realistic, compassionate, and, paradoxically, much more powerful definition. When we approach meditation this way, it stops being a source of stress and becomes a refuge, a space to know ourselves better, to learn to navigate life's inevitable waves with a bit more balance and clarity. The benefits? Less reactivity, more calm, greater focus, increased self-awareness, don't come from forcing a state, but are the natural consequence of practicing presence and gentle acceptance, day after day, breath after breath. It's like the gardener who prepares the soil, plants the seed, waters, and tends the process, trusting that in due time the flower will bloom. The result. They don't pull on the plant to make it grow faster. So my invitation to you today is this. Forget the idea of meditating right or being good at meditation. Let go of the pressure for immediate results or a silent mind. Instead, experiment. Try sitting for a few minutes today or tomorrow. Set a simple intention to observe your breath. Notice your thoughts with curiosity. Be kind to yourself. When the mind wanders, and it will, just notice and gently return. That's it. See meditation not as another thing to add to your to-do list, but as an act of self-care, a moment to simply be instead of do, a space to practice a different relationship with your own mind and your experience. If you've tried meditation and given up, perhaps this new approach is the missing key. If you've never tried, let this be a gentle invitation to start without pressure, just with curiosity. Remember the words of Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Allow your practice to unfold at its own pace, with patience and trust in the process. The journey of meditation is a marathon, not a sprint. And every conscious step, no matter how small, is already an arrival. You're not here to perform better, you're here to feel more. It's not about performance, it's about presence. Life doesn't demand that you work. It invites you to flourish in your own time, in your own way. And deep down, maybe the only true goal of meditation is to remember you are already whole. I'd love to know what you take away from our conversation. What was the biggest insight? Have you felt frustrated by not being able to silence your mind during meditation? Which of the mentioned difficulties, restless mind, boredom, high expectations, self-criticism, inconsistency, resonates most with your experience? What small shift in attitude can you experiment with today to apply the focus on the process rather than the outcome in your meditation practice? What do you feel inspired to try? Share here in the comments. And if this content helped you, consider sharing it with someone who might also benefit from this new perspective on meditation. If you like this video and related to the content, leave a like and share it with your friends. Want to deepen your knowledge of meditation and mindfulness even further? Access our exclusive ebook with practical tips and daily exercises. The link is in the description and the first pinned comment. And don't forget to check out the other 2 videos here on the screen. Choose one and click on it to continue your journey of self-discovery and well-being. Thank you for joining me in this exploration. May your practice be light, curious, and deeply rewarding.